Back on the record, 404, just 2.
All right, Mr. Taylor, I'm going to show you Exhibit 1. I'm going to ask you if this is what you have referred to as the residential center.
I see it before you answer.
Yes, this is.
Okay, and you could tell me how many pages are on that exhibit?
It's 6.
And is it accurate that all those pages are pictures of the residential center?
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
And what do you want?
See it?
Oh, I thought you just did.
I looked at page 1.
Yeah. Is that also referred to as the ministry house?
It could be, yeah. I mean, yes. But
Yes.
we usually say professionally residential center, so
But sometimes it's referred to as the ministry house?
yes.
And is there any other place that's referred to as the ministry house?
I think there's another location where the ministry have already, I think, started buying a place, and it's a place for some of the staff where they stay. You know, where I provide a place if someone wants to do intern in the ministry, so I provide a place for
Where's
them to
that?
stay. It's in St. Louis.
And what's the address for that?
You know, I don't know. I don't have that because it's recent, so it's not.
Would you be able to provide that
Yeah, we can provide
with
that for you.
the other documents you're going to give me before your next
Of
deposition?
course, yes, exactly.
And just for the record, I would note over Mr. Jenkins' statements that we dispute that my client is glaring or doing anything inappropriate. He is looking at David Taylor, aka the prophet. I'm sorry, the apostle, because that is the person who is speaking, and he is not rolling his eyes. He is talking to me on occasion, which is perfectly acceptable for him to talk to his attorney. I would just like the record to reflect that. So back to the questions.
Record reflect that he's been making statements regularly, verbally, while he's been sitting there.
Right, to me.
While you're talking.
I hear him.
No, while you're talking.
That's
and,
fine.
And also
He has another attorney
expressions.
sitting next to
That's
him.
fine.
Okay.
I'm sitting right across from him, so
That's fine.
I'm just
I've-
asking
I've
to control.
indicated that I don't-
My request was to control your client, so.
My request is that you stop unnecessarily objecting. My client has done nothing wrong. He has a lawyer sitting on each side of him, and he on occasion speaks to me or to the other attorney, and there's nothing wrong with that.
My
All right,
objections are
Mr.
no,
Taylor,
and still maintain.
you don't know the address of the place that is also sometimes called Ministry House?
No,
And tell me the purpose of this place?
it's a residence that we bought that or that we're in the process of buying to, that gives young aspiring preachers and ministers a place to stay while they're an intern in our ministry, being trained.
Has Deborah Frazier ever stayed there?
She's come over there.
What do you mean she's come over there?
She's visited and come over, I'm sure.
But you don't know the address?
No, it's too recent for me.
When you say it's recent, when did that start?
Maybe a year, 2, something like that. I just don't know, so.
I'm going to show you what you provided as the balance sheet and ask you to indicate where on this building is represented.
What building?
What you just said was you're in the process of buying a ministry house. Where would it show up on the asset and liability?
Well, it wouldn't because we're leasing it right now. So it's a liability. I don't know if they put it on here.
Well, what do you mean when you're in the process of buying? Does that mean that you...
Well, yeah, we're in stages till we can buy. That's what I mean. Maybe
Okay,
I
I'm
need
not
to
sure what
rephrase
that means.
You know, before we just pay off something, we lease it until, you know, we have enough money to be able to do that. Do that
Okay.
make sense to you?
Not much.
Okay.
So is it your testimony that you are leasing this piece of property?
Yes.
And how much do you pay a month?
Actually, I don't know. My financial board knows all of those
Who's
things.
your financial board?
Those three that I gave you there.
They're your board?
No, I said financial board. That means
Right.
a certain area. They handle a certain area.
The financial board is
It's
the,
different from the board of the JMMI.
okay, but when you refer to them as a board,
Well, maybe I ought to rephrase that since you're tripping over that. Let's say they are financial administrators. Do that make sense?
you tell me if it makes sense.
Yes.
So do you see anything regarding this ministry house on the asset and liability sheet?
No, I don't think it would be on here because it might be. I don't see it as of now.
Can you describe this place?
It's just a residential home.
It's another house.
Yes, it's like a home, but it's.
What do you mean it's like a home?
Oh, I mean it's a home.
It is a home.
Yeah.
Okay, is it at 2036 Victory Way Lane?
2036. No.
What's at 2036 Victory Lane?
I don't know. It's an address to a.
It has nothing to do with your ministry at all.
Mm-mm.
You got to answer yes or no.
No.
So you don't have any connection to 2036 Victory Lane
No.
Way.
My apartment is 208. 2008 Victory Way Lane.
Okay.
So that sounds like another address over in that area, but that's not. I have nothing to do with that.
And that's not where the ministry house is.
No, those are condominiums. Okay. and-
Victory Lane.
yes.
So this ministry house, the JMMI has been leasing?
Yes.
Okay. Now, are you the head of JMMI?
Yes.
And you don't know where this place is?
I know where it is. I just don't know the address. I don't want to give you any wrong details like I did the first time.
All right, can you
It's
give me the description of where it is?
It's in Florissant, Missouri. I know
Right.
that.
Cross streets?
Yeah, it's a neighborhood.
What are the cross streets?
I don't know that. But like I said, I'll provide you with the information after this is over with.
Who owns this residence?
I don't know. It's some guy. I don't know him.
Did you arrange for this lease?
No.
Who
I
would
have
have
a
done that?
financial board who does those things.
Those three people you referred to with Michelle and
Yes.
the other person's
Financial
name.
administrative people.
And so you're saying but don't you have to sign the lease?
No, I'm not the only one that can sign. I have a board members who are on that can sign.
So you didn't sign this lease?
I don't even know.
Can you give me a copy of the lease?
Is that necessary?
Oh, yeah, I would object to the relevance of providing a document to a lease of
Okay.
property of
Good.
JMMI. That has nothing to do with your.
Actually, it does. We've been unable, despite a court order, to get an address as to where the ministry is and
We're giving
what
you
the
addresses.
locations
You
do.
have
You're
an
giving me
address.
addresses.
No.
You have an address.
I have one address for
400
one
10
thing.
Page Drive.
Right, but nobody's giving me an address for what's referred to as a ministry house, where people who are participating in the ministry go and live and are provided a residence by Mr. Taylor.
Well, we said we'll provide that. I just don't know it. So it's not a problem.
What's
so you
not a
shouldn't make a
problem?
big deal. I mean, we're going to give you the address.
Right, I'm asking for
I
a
just don't
copy
know
of
it
the
now.
lease.
I don't have that information on me now.
Okay. Have you ever been there?
I'm just
Oh,
gonna let the
yes, of
record
course.
reflect another comment made objection by a comment under oath. He doesn't know the streets. That's commentary. That's not assisting you. I asked for that to
was
stop.
made to me as
He
a-
It was
spoke to
made-
her,
he
his
made it-
attorney.
He made it out loud.
Well, you have, if you
It's not
talk,
on
it's
the
out
but
loud.
If he wants to assist you in the
Rick is
deposition,
crazy,
that's
man.
fine, but the commentary is inappropriate. I've done depositions for years. I've never
have I.
had somebody sit and,
Yes.
and start to make comments
Please.
like this.
He is my my client, I am his attorney, and so is the other person sitting on the other side, Mr. Yutuma.
The personal
So, excuse me,
commentary
don't
is
interrupt,
inappropriate.
please.
I'm
Do
not,
not
no,
interrupt.
I'm talking.
That's
and I'm
right.
making an
I was
objection.
That's right.
talking.
And I'm making an objection.
That's right.
And it's just
That's fine.
inappropriate.
We
It
dispute,
obfuscates the
Disrespectful.
deposition.
Okay.
we dispute your characterization, and fortunately it's videotaped, so we shouldn't have a problem.
I concur that it's disruptive.
That's fine. I would also note that the deponent is at the far end of the table for Mr. Yatuma, who my client is speaking to. So I don't think it's disruptive.
I can hear the comments. It's
Okay.
The comments
disruptive
are
to me.
not facilitating questions or what you're talking about. They're commentary about what the deponent's saying.
That's fine,
That's not appropriate.
in your opinion. There's no,
Agreed.
show me
A
a court law on
party,
that.
okay,
There's
a
no court
party
rule
is
that
not
says that.
allowed to speak. He can attend. He's not allowed to speak at the deposition.
I don't
We don't
think
need to, this is silly.
it is.
He's making a comment that the opponent doesn't know an address that he's owned for 2 years to his attorney. That's what he's saying to me.
The deposition is being
And now
conducted
you-
by the
you-
attorneys,
you've made
not by
light
the
of this
clients. Not by
on
the
video,
clients.
which I think only hurts the opponent. But again, if he-
Do you have an
all-
objection?
All of his work.
Do you have an objection?
No, I'm responding
Then
to
state
you.
your objection if you have one.
I have an objection to you. Well, I'm responding to you.
I've stated the objection. It's for the record.
Okay.
All right, so back to the ministry house. You don't know who you leased it from.
Like I say, I have a.
I'm just asking you, do you know who you leased it from?
Let me finish answering you. I don't. I have a vast ministry, so I don't know everything always that goes on. I know overall, but I have people who take care of those things. So, you know, I will get that for you, so that's no problem. If we can move on from that question.
All right, so this ministry house, you're saying you are providing residence for people that are in training?
Yes.
Okay.
Aspiring ministers.
Is Deborah Frazier one of those people?
No, she lives here, right?
Does she ever stayed there at the ministry house? The
She's
address?
come by there. People come by and see each other, and so she don't stay there. No,
She's never spent the night there.
not that I know of.
Has she ever done any ministry work there?
I'm not sure. I couldn't say.
Who would know that?
Maybe Michelle.
Was Michelle's primary location that she works in Taylor or in St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Okay. So when she's in St. Louis, what facility does she work out of?
Actually, I would like to rephrase that. I think I would say both, because she comes back and forth up here to do in the offices to do things, but her laptop she uses at her own home.
Okay, and does she have a residence in St. Louis?
Yes.
Okay. Now you're aware Debbie Frazier frequently goes to St. Louis several
Yes.
times a month?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know if it's several times a month.
For several days a month.
Okay.
Would that be more accurate for you?
I'm not sure, but
You
I
don't
do
know?
she comes. I know she comes to St. Louis.
How many days a month would you approximate that she goes there?
I couldn't say.
You have no idea.
I couldn't say accurately, no.
Does she see you when she goes to St. Louis?
No,
She doesn't see you?
no. If she's there, I may be out of town, or if she is there and we see each other, it's briefly. But I don't see her like that, no.
What is your understanding of the work that Deborah Frazier does when she's in St. Louis on your behalf?
Well, like I say, I have executives and administrators administrating their work and doing that. So my hands is not in everything. So I can't say.
You have no idea what Deborah Frazier does when she's in St. Louis?
I know she's a great worker, and she really
But doing
helps.
what?
I share with you what I do know, and like I said to you, if you want to know more, you have to ask my executives.
And who would that be?
Michelle Brannon is one.
Michelle is an executive and also the financial board?
No, she's not the financial board. She administrates with other financial people. So it's that financial administration, those who are surrounding that, taking care of that.
All right, I guess I don't understand. You referred to Michelle as being on a financial board?
Yeah, I rephrased that. I said administration. I think that'd be better for you to understand.
All right, so there's 3 people in the financial administration, those 3 people you listed with Michelle?
Yes.
Okay, and you also referred to Michelle as an executive?
Yeah, she's the executive in the ministry.
What does that mean?
Well, she execute all the departments and make sure everything is running smoothly overall in all the countries and the states.
So would she be the person that is supervising Deborah Frazier in her work?
Yes.
And Deborah Frazier is an unpaid
Yeah, she's
volunteer.
a volunteer staff. Mhm.
So it would be Michelle that would be able to tell me what exactly Deborah Frazier does when she's in St. Louis.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any plans to hire Deborah Frazier?
Yes, I really do.
And tell me about those.
Well, we are a growing ministry, and we're trying to establish more credibility on a massive scale with the bank for the size
with
of the
the what?
vision, with the bank for the size of the vision we have.
All right, take me back there for a minute. You're trying to establish more credibility for the bank?
Yes.
What
more,
bank?
Do I need to answer that? Or?
If you can.
Well,
Oh, yeah.
obviously he
Credibility.
knows.
Bank of America, and of course, well, that's it, right? That's all you need to know.
No, I asked you if you had any plans to hire Deborah Frazier, and your
Yes.
response was you did,
Yes, we
that
do.
you were growing, and that you needed to establish credibility with the Bank of America.
Well, yeah, I was trying to say that in reference to we're establishing things and growing, and when we are at the size that we can hire more people, she would be one of the ones we would do that for.
All right, so when you say you're growing, how do you count your size? What tool do you use? What variable do you use to demonstrate your size?
Well, it's multiple variables.
Okay,
Variables.
Go ahead and list them all.
Depending on what area. If you're talking about in size to the amount of people we're reaching through television and
Well, you
radio.
use that term, you want to grow. So what are you referring
Yes.
to?
Well, I mean, you asking a question that I think you're basically referring to the previous question. So you're talking about growing financially is one thing, growing in size. So it's different, multiple variables.
Okay, let's
of
go
that.
through them. You go through each variable for me. When you say growing in size, what do you mean?
Well, like I say, that's multiple. Like it could be people.
Okay, let's start with people.
Yeah.
So how do you count people?
That's hard, other than by television exposure, the amount of responses through that, the amount of countries we are allowed into.
What countries are you in?
Well, through media, we're in 192 countries.
Say, through what?
Through media, we're in 192 countries.
Tell me what that means.
We're reaching 192 countries
How do you do that?
through a television network.
Is there a specific network you use?
The Way TV out of California.
The Way, W-A-Y,
TV, yeah.
in
And also-
California?
Internet, live streaming.
How do you count how many people are doing that?
Well, they have ratings and ways you can figure out
I'm sorry, am I hitting you?
who comes on.
You have ways to count,
Vaguely, but not quite, not fully. But we can see all the countries who are responding and all the people who are responding from different countries
and how do you see that?
through web analysis.
Is there data available?
Yeah, there should be. Yeah.
There should be. Isn't that's not
Mhm.
something you look at?
Oh, yeah, I do look at it.
So there is.
Yeah, it should be.
Should be or there is?
There is.
Okay. So what do you look at to discern how many countries are responding to you?
It's a web analysis they have.
Who's they?
There's a web analysis named Get Clicky. That's one. Another one is Stat Counter. And I don't think neither one of them is totally accurate.
And that tells you what information?
I think they're accurate maybe 87, 89%.
With what information?
How the amount of people responding from different countries.
Okay. And what's your understanding of the amount of people responding from different countries?
Well, I know it's in over 192 countries.
No, I understand, but we're talking about people, not countries. You said you could tell how many people were responding.
Oh, yeah. That's only through, you can't always gauge by just someone responding because many people can be looking and they may not ever respond. So I can't really answer that question very accurately.
You said you thought that these web counter things were 87 to 89% accurate. That's
Yeah.
pretty specific. What does that mean
Yeah.
then?
Well, I mean, one of them may show that there's lesser amount of people on, and then the other, like one may show there's 8,000 people, the other may show there's 12,000. So I think it could be broke or it's not quite accurate.
So tell me if I'm wrong. Does the whole world have 192 countries? Are there more than that exist?
I think there are a few more than that.
2, 3?
I'm sorry, what are you saying?
2 or 3 more? Isn't 192 how many
What?
there that exist? So are you saying you just stream TV programs to the whole world?
Not only that, like I said, there's a TV network that is reaching.
That's what I'm
the world
talking
too.
about.
Mhm.
So you're saying you use a TV network.
And my own personal live streaming. So
What's your personal live streaming?
It's Joshua Media Ministries.org on our website.
Say that again?
Joshua Media Ministries.org on our website.
Okay, and you're live streaming what?
Services.
To whom? Just on the
Anybody
internet?
who will watch.
And how many? Do you do that daily?
Not daily, no.
How often?
If I have a service in some places that is capable of live streaming like we are here in Taylor.
So you live stream out of Taylor, and where else?
Anywhere they may have T1 line or they
Okay,
able
just
to
give me an
do it.
example of other places you have done live streaming out of.
St. Louis, if I'm in a church that has the setup for that.
Okay. Where else?
It varies. I can't tell you. It just varies if that pastor or bishop has the setup for that.
Well, just give me an example of a pastor or bishop or a church where you've live streamed out of, other than Taylor.
Where else? It's been so many places. It's just that I let my staff handle that, so I'm trying to. I don't. Have
don't
all
you
the
go to
details.
them?
Oh, I'm there ministering, but I can't possibly do everything.
But you said there are so many places,
That we have done that.
but you
from-
can't
from
give me the.
past.
Excuse me,
trying to
let me
remember.
finish my question.
Oh.
You said there are so many places, but you can't give me the name of any bishop or church from which you have
I
live
gave you
streamed.
one in
Let me
St.
finish.
Louis.
Let me finish.
Okay.
So many places, but you can't give me the name or address of a church or a bishop that you have live streamed from?
I just gave you one, but like I said,
Which one?
I'm not the one in St. Louis. Abundant Life Fellowship.
Okay, other than that,
Okay, but like I say, I travel so much, and I don't know all the details. I have a staff to do that. If you want that later, I can give that to you.
you can give me a
So-
list of the places you have live streamed.
If that's relevant. Do you think it's relevant?
Yeah, I'm asking the question.
Okay, yeah.
You can provide,
The answer is no, I don't think it's relevant, but you can go ahead and answer the
Okay.
question because I have a standing objection.
but you're going to provide that to me then within the 30 days before the next step?
Yeah, I'll try to get some of those to you.
Okay.
Subject to my objection.
Yeah.
Now, when you live stream, you are giving speeches or whatever through the internet to an audience. Is that an accurate
Um,
description?
I don't know your terminology.
Use your
speeches-
own then.
Yeah. I think it's teaching and preaching.
Okay, and in this teaching and preaching, are you asking for money?
We do take up an offering, standard offering,
What
like
does that
every
mean, we
other
take
ministry
up?
does.
An offering. What does
Well,
that mean? You're asking
you-
for money?
Have you ever been to church?
Are you asking for money?
I'm asking you, have you ever been to church?
You don't get to ask me questions.
Well, I'm
it's a
trying
one
to
way.
see.
Doesn't work
can
that
you,
way.
You're trying to get an understanding, right? So I'm trying to give you a reference point.
I am
But if you
asking-
don't go to church, it would be no reference point, right?
I am asking
Yeah.
what it means to take up an offering. What does that mean in your terms?
Have you ever been to a Billy Graham crusade?
Sir, you don't
I'm
ask
just
me
asking.
questions. You don't get to ask me questions.
Well, I mean, are you trying to understand what I'm saying, or
I'm asking you to explain it.
that's what I'm trying to do?
Describe it to the best of your ability.
Okay, so
What does
you
that
know,
mean?
It means to have a time where people are able to donate freely to the ministry.
And you ask them to do that. Is that accurate?
Oh yes.
Okay, and this would be when you're live streaming in Taylor?
Yes.
Okay. Have you, in this live streaming, publicly indicated that you are trying to get a loan from a bank for JMMI?
Yes.
Okay. And what bank are you referring to?
Well, anyone that will have the right interest rate.
Have you made application?
Yeah.
From what banks?
I can't. I don't know. I can't give you all of them. It's been quite a few. So, I have an administrative team who's doing all of that work for me behind the scenes.
Is that the administrative team with Michelle and those two other women?
Yeah, some of them and some others now.
Who signs the loan then? The loan note?
I'm sorry.
Who would sign it if you're, who makes the application? Let's start with that. Who signs the application?
I'm sure it would be board members. Would that be? Is that understandable? Board
You don't
members.
know who signs the application for a loan?
Board members.
Are you on the board?
Yeah,
Do you sign applications for loans?
when needed. Anything when needed.
Who's on the board?
I have Michelle Brannon.
I'm sorry, say that again. Michelle Brannon.
Brannon.
Spell that again.
Brannon.
B-R.
Brannon. I gave it to you earlier.
I know,
B-R-A-N-N-O-N.
Yeah, you need to- yeah.
Same
B-R-A.
person we've been referring
Yeah,
to
you-
throughout this deposition.
you got
No, the way he said it, I thought he said Brennan. So it's the same person we've been talking about. I just referred to her as Michelle. I've met her
Yes.
before, but I don't know her last name off
Yes.
the top of my head. Same, the woman that was here today.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So Michelle Brannon is on the board,
Yes.
and who else?
Ashley Ware.
The
My
same
s-
woman you just
Yes.
referenced was on your financial board?
Yes. Marcia. Marcia.
Marcia who?
Her last name is slipping me.
You don't know the last name of a member of your board?
Yes, I do. Marcia Stewart.
Stewart, how do you spell that?
Steward.
And she's on your board of directors?
Yeah.
And who else?
Myself.
So there's 4 members on the board of directors. Answer yes or no.
Yes.
All right, and Michelle Brandon is a paid employee.
Yes.
Ashley Ware, is she compensated?
She's volunteer.
And Marcia Stewart.
Volunteer.
And do all 3 of those women reside in St. Louis?
Yes.
Is it possible that Marcia's last name may be McDonald?
Yes. It is McDonald.
It's not Stewart.
No.
It's not even close, is it?
Nope.
And you're saying that Marcia McDonald is a volunteer? You gotta answer yes or no.
Yes.
And she's not compensated?
No. She has a job.
What's her job?
She's a fireman.
She's a what?
Fire person. Fireman.
Firefighter?
If that's how you want to call
Well,
it.
I mean, she's not a man, so I think what we refer, is it a firefighter?
He said fire
It's just-
person.
Yeah.
Is she talking about like a firefighter?
You can call it whatever you want it.
Well, no, I'm not gonna call her anything. I'm just trying to make sure we're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, I've already stated that.
Employed by a city to fight
Yes.
fires.
Fires.
Okay, do you know what city?
St. Louis. Amazing.
In going through the ledger, it appears that there are a lot of checks going to, is her name, her first name is Marcia. Or La Marcia, which is it?
La Marcia.
Right.
Is what you're talking about? Yeah, her name is La Marcia.
So not Marcia.
No, not Marcia. No.
La Marcia,
La Marcia McDonald.
but you pronounced it Marcia.
No, I said
Objection.
Marcia.
Th-
That's
this
her
time.
nickname.
It is Marcia or Marcia?
Yeah, we don't call her by La Marcia. We call her Marcy. That's
Marcy?
what she goes by. Yeah.
Okay, so La Marcia, in looking at your ledger, it looks like there are a lot of checks that are dispersed to La Marcia McDonald.
Are you sure? Because I don't know that. I know she's able to sign checks to take care of bills and stuff like that. But for her to be getting that many checks, I don't I don't think
who
you're
can
reading
sign
that
checks?
accurately.
Who can sign checks?
Board members,
So those 3 women and you?
the board.
Those 3 women and you?
Yes, the board. That's
But that's who we're talking about, those 3 women.
yes. I gave it to you.
What is safe savings? Let the roads go in.
Safe savings?
Mhm.
Are you saying savings? Is that
Safe,
what you refer?
S-A-F-E, savings. S-A-V-I-N-G-S.
The only savings I know about is my account that I put money aside for the ministry to save finances, so we don't spend everything.
Is that something that's referred to as safe savings?
Yes, I guess if that's on there, is that on there? On
No,
the
I'm
report?
asking you, if that's your terminology. Safe savings refers to
The savings account.
and where, what bank is that in?
It should be Bank of America. Well, we got another bank too.
What's the other one?
Clover Leaf.
Where's that?
It's a smaller bank in Illinois.
What city is that?
Illinois.
What city? That's a state.
You know what? I don't know. I really don't.
How did you end up at Cloverleaf?
Through mutual connections with the VIP
With the VIP? What does that mean?
or the VP of
What-
the bank. I'm sorry.
What's this person's name?
Honestly, I don't know his name.
Is this somebody that you have mutual connections with?
No, my board has.
Who on your board has a connection with the VP there?
Michelle.
And what do you use that bank for?
We have a secure line of credit with them.
And what's it secured by?
Will you phrase that a little bit more detailed?
You said you had a secured line of credit with that bank, and I'm
Yes.
asking you, what is it secured with?
I mean, with our own cash flow.
That's not what a secured line of credit would mean. It's usually attached to some asset.
No, it's not really. You don't have to have that to have a secure line of credit.
You have not pledged any collateral for this?
That's what I'm saying. Cash is the collateral.
And what cash are you referring to?
Ministry cash to build a relationship with the bank.
So do you deposit savings in this Cloverleaf Bank?
You know, I'm not sure. I have them taking care of a lot of things, so I don't want
Who's
to give
them?
you wrong. Like I said, my financial administration.
All right, there, for example, on July 23rd, 2013, it says, I think it's La Marcia, McDonald, monthly safe savings, $3,567. What is that?
That's putting money aside from the account as money flows in to save.
But why is La Marcia McDonald's name referenced?
I don't know. She's the one that takes the money and handles that. She's on the bank card with Bank of America.
On the bank card?
Yeah, with Bank of America.
What do you mean on the bank card?
Well, you know, they give you debit cards, and they also give you, the bank gives you, if you're a signer on the account, you can, you know, you have the power to sign for checks and to do things.
So she has a debit card for the
A
ministry's...
ministry debit card.
Okay, then on August 1st, 2013, it just says La Marcia McDonald and
What are you referencing?
the ledgers you gave us.
What page?
Well, I'm doing it by date, so I said it by date.
Okay, there's a page number on the bottom.
2? it references La Marcia McDonald, $400 on August 1st, 2013. Another August 1st, 2013, $100. Then it says August 2nd, 2013, La Marcia McDonald, Destiny's Hair, $50.
I don't know what that is.
Would that be your daughter, Destiny?
That's her name, but I don't know why is that written like that.
Does the ministry pay for her hair to be done?
No, I pay for all expenses out of my own personal income. So I don't know how that's there. Is that ministry money flow or is that personal?
It says JMMI down at the
Okay,
right-hand
but
corner.
is that my personal life of income or is it
It's on the same page as,
so personal savings? So you think personal expenses? All these are personal expenses.
well then
This
why?
is not ministry.
Okay, on that same page that
What
I'm
page?
referencing, page 2,
Okay.
on July 23rd, 2013, it says La Marcia McDonald monthly safe savings, and you testified that was ministry.
I'm sorry, I didn't know exactly what you. Now I have it in front of me. So this,
If you look
Well,
at page 2,
yes, I understand.
okay, and look at an entry July 23rd, 2013,
Yes,
and it says La Marcia McDonald monthly safe savings, $3,567.02.
yes. This.
That's
this
ministry, is it not?
No.
Oh, it's not ministry?
No. I thought. I'm sorry. Like I said, I didn't know you were coming from this personal document. I thought it was a ministry thing.
Well,
until
isn't
you
that
start-
ministry? You just
No,
ta-
all of this is
Let me
personal.
ask you.
It's personal.
Let me ask a question.
Okay. See, I have a savings
Let me
account for
ask
the
the
ministry
question.
and one for my.
Let me ask the question, okay? I referenced July 23rd, 2013, La Marcia McDonald monthly safe savings.
Yes.
And you testified that that was money from the ministry that
Yes.
went into a savings so you could build up cash.
Yes, that was my fault. Yes.
Okay,
For-
so that is on a document that you presented as a ledger that is JMMI in the corner.
Well, let's be clear that
Yes.
the JMMI in the corner was produced by my office. The JMMI was something that we put on there to reference for our retrieval
Yeah, but
Today?
this says personal.
yesterday.
So,
So now that I know it's personal, now I can address this more accurately. I was wrong. I have a ministry account where we save money in our ministry, but I also have a personal account that any money that comes to me, I put aside a certain amount each month.
what do you mean money that comes to you?
Well, I get a salary, and for a while, my salary was bigger, $70,000 a year, but then I cut that in half to about 30 to 27,000.
Well, this reference for July 23rd, 2013 that says La Marcia McDonald monthly safe savings.
Yeah, she's over some of my personal affairs in taking things out and adhering to kind of some of the things I want done with my account. So that's what that means. This is not, none of this is ministry. This is all personal.
Well, then I don't
No.
have the ministry's ledger. He's saying this is personal.
Oh,
You-
the ministry is in the back. I can see that now.
So you're saying you personally.
These first few
Let me-
pages
sir,
are personal.
Let me ask you a question. So you're saying that this entry of safe savings that you previously identified as something for the ministry is actually your personal savings?
Yes, exactly.
And when you
It's
say
personal.
when you come into money, you say you have a salary.
Well, coming to my knees.
That's that's what a term you use. When I come into
I mean-
money,
No. When I get paid a paycheck,
okay?
you understand what that means about a paycheck. A paycheck, if I get a salary that's $70,000 a year, then
What
I'm
was your
able to
salary
take
in
more.
2013?
I don't know because we made adjustments.
You don't know what you earned in
Not
2013?
fully. I know I started cutting things in half, so I want to be accurate, but I can get all of that information for you. It's proprietary, so it's not.
I'm sorry?
I said I can get all that information for you. It's proprietary.
Proprietary? What does
Yeah,
that have to do?
proprietary
What do you mean by that?
information. It's open.
That's not what that
You
word
should
means.
know. Well, it don't matter. You know what I mean.
No, no, I don't. That's what I'm
you
asking
do
you.
know what I mean. Because you defined it. So if you know what the sentence means, let's just move on. Let's not be children. I think that you understand what I'm trying to say.
No, I
basically,
don't, sir.
That
I do
everything
not.
is, whatever I have, you can have. It's not a problem about my
Okay,
salary.
let's proceed with questions and answers.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if there are ministry ledgers produced or if it's just all personal.
Well, if you really, I don't think you've really had a chance to look at everything.
No, I have looked at some, but not.
I know. So I can kind of see you're a little off by
That's
this
what I
because these first few pages is personal,
I'm sorry?
and then down here is ministry. So it's all together, but there's a part
Can
that's
you,
personal and a part that's
Can you mark that?
ministry. So, so you see this part personal.
Do you want to see that? It's a W-2. Oh. I don't know if I care. Can you identify that document that's marked as Exhibit 2?
Yes,
And what is it?
it's a W-2.
For whom?
Me. Myself.
And your name is listed as what?
David Taylor,
And what year is that for?
2013,
And how much is the W-2?
$27K.
27,000 even?
Yes.
Okay, if I may have that. So, is it your testimony that this W-2 that you've identified accurately lists your wages from Joshua Media Ministry?
Yes.
And that's who issued this W-2?
Who issued it? Oh, I'm sorry.
Joshua Media Ministry?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. So you're saying from this $27,000 salary, that reflects your salary?
Yes.
Yep, I think you probably have to.
Yes.
Okay. That these monthly safe savings of $3,500 plus,
Is that every month?
hold on,
No.
that those savings came from your salary?
Well, it depends on the money flow. Like if my bills are lesser or higher in each month, I have more I can save. So I don't know if you're looking at $35,000 every month. Do it say every month on
Well,
there?
if you look at what I was referring to as page 2,
Okay. One.
for 2013. Okay. July 23rd, 2013, where you take out $3,567.02. And that seems like a pretty specific amount. How would that
Yes.
be arrived at?
You know, I'm because she's over that. I
Because
really
she's
don't
over
know.
that?
Yeah, she's over this part of it. I don't know. I see what's being written here, but I really need them to help answer this. You know, for
Do you have a bank statement that shows where that would have gone into?
Oh yeah, all of this.
Can you-
That's why it's.
Will you produce your bank statements that we asked pursuant to the subpoena?
Of course. That
Okay.
would be great.
Wait a second. Let's be clear. The bank statements you requested were those that reflected monies from Deborah Frazier. Are you asking for something different now?
Well, I'm not sure Mr. Taylor can explain to me if this is ministry money or his personal money. There seems to be some confusion
No,
there.
He said he
This is
can't.
personal. Well, I mean, from what it looks like, but I can't fully answer because I don't have the person who handles all my.
Well, can you talk to her between now and the next
I sure
deposition to
can.
kind
I can do
of
that.
refresh your
And
memory?
we can answer that for you.
Okay.
I don't understand why that's.
Where are we showing? This is in micro print. I'm trying to read something. Look at that page 1 of that document we were reviewing before.
Okay.
You know, I'll just have
Which doc?
all of this marked so we're clear. This is proposed deposition exhibit 3. It is part of what you handed me is the ledger,
Okay.
and page numbers 1 through 11 that go from July 1, 2013 to November 8th, 2014. And do you see what I'm referring to? It starts with beginning balance of July 1st, 2013, and it says $1,496.42. Are you looking at that same document?
What page would you say?
The top
No.
page.
Okay. And where?
I'm just trying to
Up here?
identify that we're all looking
Okay.
at the same thing.
Yes, okay.
And it says $1,496.42.
Yes. Mhm.
All right, this is Joshua Ministries, isn't it?
No, this is personal.
It's personal?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is personal, and, sorry, I may have to take a moment. If you give me a second, this is very small print.
Yeah.
All right, look at July 15, 2013. It says
Okay.
JMMI DES payroll, and then it lists your name, and it says $5,000.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the next page on date July 31st. Let me see. There's a $5,000 line that says JMMI salary. Do you see that?
Where's that? One more time.
July 31st
Okay,
on
yeah, I see
page
that.
2.
Mm-hmm.
JMMI salary $5,000.
Right. Mm-hmm.
August 15th.
Okay, I've got to place the same objection on the record that Mr. Jenkins placed earlier. This is, clearly your client is in part conducting this deposition, and this is not appropriate.
He's
It's the
directing
same-
me, I'm going to give you an explanation. He's directing me to the micro print that is very difficult to read of the documents
He's
that you gave me
whispering
well
the
after.
questions in
excuse
your
me.
ear and
No,
you're
he's telling me
asking the
that he's-
questions.
No,
I can
that's not
hear him.
accurate.
Your client-
He's showing me what
I
line.
can hear him.
I'll place the same objection. He's
That's fine.
directing the deposition, he's directing the questions, he's conducting the inquiry. That's your job. not
August 15th, 2013. The line says Joshua Media Ministry, same thing, DES, I don't know what that means, payroll, David Taylor, and it's another $5,000. Just circle it.
Mm-hmm.
Just circle it, I'll go through it. $5,000 for payroll.
Okay.
Now, would you acknowledge that's a payroll payment to you?
Yeah, but some of this, the way they have this factored in here, is I get housing allowance under the ministerial thing.
Under the ministerial thing, I don't know what
Yes.
that means.
Yeah. You have to study like church law, tax law, that kind of stuff. But the thing is, at one time they were just giving me the total payroll check of 5,000, I think, every semi-weekly, and I was paying out of that my all the expenses.
So you acknowledge that you
Instead
were
of it just going, instead of the
let me ask
ministry
you a
paying.
question.
Yep.
You were receiving $5,000 in salary checks, it looks like twice a month.
Hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes. Hmm.
And as your compensation for Joshua Media Ministries, is that accurate?
Yes.
And yet in that same year, your W-2 shows, what was it, $27,000?
Yes. Hmm.
Do you see a discrepancy between?
No.
Objection to the form of the question. He's answering the question to the best of his ability, but he's not a
Yes.
CPA.
I didn't finish
Right.
the question.
Do you see a discrepancy? Question
I didn't
mark.
finish it. No, you interrupted me.
Okay.
I didn't finish
Then finish
my
the question
sentence.
and wait for me.
Okay.
Do you believe that the W-2 is consistent with this ledger that shows you were paid $5,000 twice a month?
Objection calls for speculation. He's not an accountant. He already testified. He's not the financial person. This is the MMI way of accounting. If you have specific questions for the financial team or the CPA, then you can contact them and schedule a deposition. He's answering to the best of his ability.
Okay, he can still answer the question. This is your personal ledger. Is that right, sir?
Yeah, but I'm
Okay.
not.
No,
I'm
no,
not
sir.
the
I'm
one
just
who does
asking
it.
you.
Yeah.
Is it your personal ledger
It is.
reflecting your finances?
Yes.
That you provided pursuant to the subpoena, pursuant to this deposition and the court
course.
order?
Yes.
Okay, and you're now saying you don't, understand why it lists $5,000 twice a month?
Because I don't handle the finances.
You don't handle your own finances?
I really don't. I have people who do that for me.
So when you get a salary check, you have no idea anything about it?
I know I've set up a team that does it for me. And so some of these questions I just can't answer because of the way they have it flowing here. I can't.
So will you present Michelle Brannon for deposition so that she can answer these questions more accurately?
What do you feel?
Well, you're the lawyer. If you want to subpoena her for a deposition.
I'm asking if he's willing to produce her.
What do you feel?
If you properly subpoena her and serve her with a notice.
So you're not going
she
to
will-
produce her voluntarily?
Oh,
That's the question. You're going to produce her voluntarily so
we
that
can
she can
discuss
answer
this
these
off
questions?
the record.
Do you mark this, please? What are we up to? 4? Okay. That's it. I'm going to show you it's marked as deposition exhibit number 4, which is the 990 form from the Department of Treasury for the return of an organization exempt from income tax, which your attorney presented to me today. Can you identify that?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Can you identify
So
that
990?
as the return for JMMI?
Yes.
All right, and it's right there. On page 11 of this tax return, can you read line 1 across, please?
Yes.
You want this?
100.
No, read what it says across the whole line.
Oh, David E. Taylor, CEO.
Okay, and then what's the next?
$40, right? Or 40, yeah, $40.
That's, okay, read what's above it and then
Oh,
what.
okay. All right. Average hours per week. List any hours for related organizations below dotted line.
And what does it say below that?
40 hours or 40.
Okay, representing or referring to 40 hours?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. And what's the next block?
Position. Do not check more than one box unless person is both an officer and a director trustee.
And what's listed below that?
Individual trustee or director, officer, key employee.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
What I want you to do is to indicate where it's marked by an X as being applicable to you.
Okay. Yeah, it's an X in individual trustee or director, key employee, and highest compensated employee.
Okay. And then under subdivision D, tell me what that says and what's reported for you.
Reportable compensation for the organization, $118,916.
So JMMI Ministries reported your income on their tax return as $119,000.
I can't answer accurately about this, but I do know that all of this is not just personal income. It's allowances that go to other things. So they were at first giving me money, but we were paying all what the ministry was supposed to pay under that code of ministry standards. So I think our CPAs taught them a more accurate way to do it. And so I think there was some kind of change. So I don't know. I can't accurately speak, but I think you would need to talk to my financial board because all of this is accurately written down. So
I thought you just said that there
Nothing.
were changes and it doesn't really reflect it.
no, there were changes, but I can't tell you all those things. So it would
So-
be better for you to try to, better just
Well,
get that.
you're the CEO of the ministry.
Yes, I am.
Who signs the tax return?
Well, the tax returns.
Right,
What tax returns?
that tax return. Who signs it? Do you sign it as CEO?
I think that I do. I'm not quite sure about all of that.
You don't know if you sign a tax return?
No, the only tax return I know I sign is my personal.
So who would sign the JMMI tax return?
I mean, obviously, it would probably be the board member or myself, but I can't remember doing it. I think that someone on the board does it.
Who would
Because
that be?
the board, well, I don't know. I can't tell you we have more than one board person.
All right, so you're saying that you don't think that one's accurate then because it reports 119,000 and that you think they redid
I
it?
didn't say it was not accurate. I just said I can't give you accurate information. And instead of in front of this deposition trying to explain something I don't know, I'd rather to just let you know I don't know because I have other people doing this for me. So the way they may be
It's-
doing this may be, it's all legitimate, but the way they have it set up is the way they are doing it the best of their ability. So
It's not clear if these are the tax returns that were actually submitted based on his testimony. So I need to be able to ask him if these tax returns were, who they were signed by, and if they were actually submitted, because his testimony would seem to be that some of this was corrected, and none of it are signed, and he can't tell me who signed it. So I have no idea if it's the tax return or a draft. So can we get a tax return that he will be able to state under oath is the tax return that was filed?
He or somebody in his organization, yes.
Okay, so I'll be able to get, well, I'm sure he can, as the CEO.
Again, this is a
Right.
deposition where you ask the deponent questions. If you want to have discussions about,
No, I'm asking you on the
Going
record,
forward.
because the documents that you presented,
I'm not going to commit to anything on the record. We can discuss this off the record, and I will get you what is reasonably required.
okay, this was provided by court order and subpoena that I was to get it. And the problem is, his testimony is indicating that he can't substantiate.
It was
I'm going to finish my
provided by-
sentence.
it was
I am
provided
going to
by
finish
other
my
people.
sentence before you interrupt.
It was provided
I-
by other people at JMMI. not
That's
Pastor
fine.
David.
So I am asking him, in compliance with the court order and the subpoena, and you as his attorney, will you provide me with a tax return that should have been provided today, that he can attest is the actual one that was submitted? Can you do that?
And I'm telling you, we will provide you with a document. This is probably the one that was, most likely the one that was filed.
Well,
He doesn't
I-
have personal knowledge of it.
Well, he can
All
get
that
it.
means is that you have the wrong deponent.
No, it does not, because he was asked as CEO of JMMI to produce these documents pursuant to court order. And the court order says he is to bring them. And he can't tell me that he brought the right stuff. So I'm asking you, are you going to give me the right information?
Okay. We'll have this discussion off the record.
No, I want to have it now. I want to know, I don't want to have to file
I'm
a
not your
motion and
deponent.
have you.
We'll have this discussion off the
You're his,
record.
you're his attorney. Are you going to provide me what was supposed to be provided pursuant to the subpoena? Yes or
Do you
no?
want
It's
to
real
continue
simple.
asking the deponent questions, or are you going to ask me questions?
Yeah, I want an answer to that one. Are you saying you won't tell me that whether or not you'll provide it?
I'm telling
Is
you.
that
we
just
can
yes or no? Are
we
you
can
telling me you're
discuss
not gonna
off
do
the
it?
record. No, I didn't say that.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go there. Excuse me, my throat's giving out. Yeah, the exhibits I need back.
Okay.
That's mine.
Oh, this, okay.
This way. I think that's ours if I wrote on it. Can I see?
No,
No,
that's
that's mine.
yours. Mhm.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, he knows.
Oh, this is yours here?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it says they're duplicates. All
Yeah.
right, so what is your salary at JMMI now?
From what I know,
From what you know?
yeah, I think it's around 27 to 30,000, something like that.
And what expenses are you saying that JMMI pays on your behalf?
Well, it's the expenses under the law for clergy.
So what are they?
I don't know. You have to go research that. I
No,
can't tell you.
No.
I don't know everything.
There is no research I can do that'll tell me what JMMI is paying for you.
Well, what I'm saying is we abide by those laws, so that's where it would be. So
Oh, no, it's, sir,
I'm just saying I can't tell you. I don't know.
you have no idea what expenses JMMI
I know a
pays for you.
housing allowance. I
How
know
much is that?
I'm not sure. Don't know.
What other allowance?
There's, I don't want to misstate, so I don't know. I'd rather for someone who's professional tell you about that.
Well, no, I'm asking about your personal, not in theory what
But
some.
you're asking
no,
about
sir, let me
ministry
finish.
stuff.
Let me finish.
I'm
Let-
answering you.
No, don't interrupt. Let me finish the question.
Okay.
I'm asking what personal allowances JMM Ministry provides you, or stipends for housing or automobile or whatever. What do they provide you?
You know, I know there are many allowances, but one that I can say is housing allowance. But in order for you to get the accurate names for what they allow, you have to talk to a professional. Because I don't want to give you misinformation.
No, I'm not asking in theory what is possible. I'm asking what actually JMMI provides to you.
Objection,
I can't-
asked and
I
answered,
can't
and he
ask
said he
you.
doesn't
It's
know.
don't
It's
know.
non-responsive.
I just don't know. I'm just telling you the
Okay,
truth.
well, that's an answer, but that's not what you told me before. Do you know if they
That's
pay
not
any
true.
of your auto expenses?
Yes, the car, the cars are in the ministry's name. They all belong to the ministry.
What
So
cars
that
are
that
those?
is not. I pay for my own car.
What's
out of
your
my
car?
own Range Rover.
And is that leased, owned?
It's leased. I mean, it's not leased, but I bought it to pay it off in 5 years.
Okay, so it's subject to a lien, but you purchased it.
I'm sorry, Aline.
You owe on it,
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
but you did not lease it.
No.
And is that what you drive in St. Louis?
Yes.
Who drives the Bentley?
My driver.
Who's your driver?
I have a number of drivers. So you would say James or Cliff. And they're responsible for picking up our guests in those cars that fly in for meetings and things like that.
And the same thing with the 2007 Mercedes-Benz,
Yes.
2008 BMW?
Yes.
Are those owned outright or subject to any kind of loan?
They're owned.
Outright? There's no loan on those.
No.
Okay. When you come to Michigan, do you generally fly here?
Yes.
And who picks you up from the airport?
It varies, different staff. So it could be anyone.
Could be a volunteer.
Yeah.
Has Mrs. Frazier ever picked you up from the airport?
No.
Have you ever been driven around in Mrs. Frazier's car when you've been in Michigan?
No, I rent a car when I'm here.
You've never been driven around in Mrs. Frazier's car?
I don't think I have, not that I can recall. I usually rent my own vehicles here. Or have my own vehicles driven up here
From where?
from Missouri.
For the weekend?
No, I mean, I may stay here 7 days or maybe 14 days. But because it's so much wear and tear, I just rent a car while I'm up here. Or the ministry provides a rental car for me, like we have now.
You've been seen being driven around in Mrs. Frazier's car that is identified as her car with her license plate.
Really?
Objection is this,
Foundation.
and is this a question?
Yeah.
He interrupted me and so did the two of you.
There's no question.
I didn't
That's an
finish
argument.
the sentence. You've been seen being driven around
Really?
in Mrs. Frazier's car with her license plate,
Okay.
specifically in Taylor. You arrived in that car
Okay.
at one of your events there. Do you not recall that?
Foundation argument.
Go ahead.
I don't. I mean, I thought it was a rental car because we rent cars all the time, rent SUVs. So it probably could have been our car. I don't know. I don't know all the details that go on when they pick me up, in what car or what. I'm just. That's not something I detail.
So you don't know whose car it is that you're being
Because
driven?
Objection
renting.
asked and answered. Now you're being argumentative. He
You
answered
don't-
the question and said he didn't know.
You don't know what person's car you're being driven in.
Asked
We have
and
rent-
answered.
That's fine,
Mhm.
but you can still answer.
Rental cars. That's what we get. Rental SUVs. Rental. Most of the time. I mean, when I'm up here, all the time actually, from what I know. So if I was driven in a car, I wasn't paying attention to that. It wasn't like, oh, this is her car, because we have our own rental things here.
Have you ever been to Debbie Frazier's residence?
No,
Do you know where she lives?
no.
Do you know if any members of your staff or your flock, as it's been referred to today, do you know if any of them have been to Mrs. Frazier's residence?
Yes.
And
I'm
who
sure
was
they are.
there?
I don't know. I can't tell you.
Somebody used flock today.
Not on the record.
No.
It doesn't matter, that was the term that was used.
Well, not that I heard.
No, I heard it. I took note of that. All right, so you know that there have been other staff or flock members.
They fellowship with each other, yeah.
Okay, so tell me what you know about that.
That's all I know, that they
Check
just
the
know each
foundation.
other.
Okay, what do you know about that?
That's all I know. That
What
they
do you
just
know? Tell me
fellowship.
what does that mean?
That
Fellowship
they,
with
like
each
a
other.
normal person, meet up and they go out to eat, or like with the staff. I mean, that's all I know.
Well, I was talking about Mrs. Frazier's house, and you said you were aware that staff members or
Have visited and been there, yes.
okay, have they
Mhm.
spent the night to your knowledge?
I think they have. I mean, from what I've known, they have spent the night, but I don't know the extent. You know, I'm not into all that.
Has
business.
Michelle spent the night there
Not that I know of. She used to stay in a hotel, from what I know.
when she comes to Michigan?
Hmm.
You have to
Yes.
answer yes or no.
Yes. Yes.
And you're saying you've never gone to Mrs. Frazier's residence?
No, I don't know where she stays.
Okay. Do you know who from the fellowship, or, you know, in these fellowship gatherings, who specifically has gone there?
No, I can't say. I really can't.
You don't know any of the names of the people that have been
I
in
will-
fellowship with her at her house?
I think more my staff would know that information. I just know I've heard that people have. So
What's your understanding of how many people would go there to her house?
maybe
Foundation
one.
objection.
What,
Pardon me?
maybe one or two. From
One
what
or
I know,
two?
have visited.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Maybe
What-
one or two have visited, or some.
Do you know how many occasions?
Foundation
no.
objection.
I don't
Objection,
know.
he's asked and answered these questions. He
I
doesn't
don't know.
No, he hasn't answered them.
I don't.
He has no personal.
Do you know if anybody from your ministry in it who, you know, volunteer, paid, board, flock members, whoever, any of those folks have ever spent the night at Mrs. Frazier's residence?
Not that I know. I don't know anybody personally. I mean, my staff would know more about that.
So you just don't have knowledge of that?
No, I've never been to her house. I don't make it my business to go to places like that and be involved personally.
What is your educational background?
High school diploma, bachelor's degree.
Hold on, let's-
Associate's bachelor.
Okay, high school from where?
Southside High School in Memphis, Tennessee.
Southside High
High.
School, Memphis, Tennessee.
Yes.
Is that where you grew up?
Yes.
Okay. And next,
And Johnson and Wales University, Culinary Arts.
hold on,
Johnson and
Johnson.
Wales University, Culinary Arts.
Where was that?
In South Carolina, a
Yeah.
remote base.
And what year was that?
1992. Yeah, 92.
Were you?
Yeah, from 91 till 90, from 90 to 92.
That's
and
when you
then-
went to school there?
Yeah.
Did you receive any kind of degree, certificate? What would
Yeah.
it be?
Associate's degree in culinary arts.
And did you work in that capacity
Yes.
anywhere? And where
Mhm.
did you work?
Just different restaurants as a chef, as a cook.
And how long did you work in that capacity?
For about, well, started before school, so before I graduated. So from the time I was 16 till to 92, 91, something like that.
I thought you said you got your degree there in 92. So
I
you didn't
did.
work anymore in that industry after you got your degree?
Well, maybe a little, but that's when I went full-time ministry, when I was 19 years old.
And where did you go for full-time ministry?
Nowhere. I didn't go to school for full-time ministry. I just started doing ministry full-time.
Okay, what does that mean you started doing ministry? Tell me what that means.
Well, I mean, full-time means you give up your career to serve the Lord and to preach the gospel around the world.
in, is it for me? Okay, we go off the record for a second.
Oh, the record at 5:24.
Sorry.